Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hagan, Branch Manager at Hall Branch, and on behalf of everyone at the Chicago Public Library, welcome. I'm speaking to you today from the Hall Branch, one of Chicago Public Library's 81 locations throughout the city of Chicago. Importantly, Hall Branch was the first CPL location with an African American branch manager, Vivian G. Harsh, who served as its first manager. Harsh dreamed of a library that would serve not only as an educational institution in the neighborhood, but also would be a community gathering place. She organized a variety of programs from Black History clubs to seniors groups. Most famously, her twice monthly literature forum, where community members could come and listen to book reviews or lectures given by other members of the community, cemented the library's role as a meeting place for African American thinkers and activists and made a profound impact on the surrounding Bronzeville neighborhood in Chicago in the 1930s and the 1940s. Langston Hughes, Zora Neale Hurston, Gwendolyn Brooks, Arna Bontemps, Horace Clayton, and Margaret Walker, some of whose work we'll hear tonight, were among the people who participated in these forums.
Hi, I'm Max Rudin, President and Publisher of Library of America, the nonprofit organization dedicated to publishing authoritative new editions of great American writing and to keeping the many-voiced American literary tradition a vital part of our culture. Tonight's program is part of Lift Every Voice, a year-long nationwide celebration of the 250-year tradition of African American poetry. Featuring signature events in New York in September, Atlanta in October, Chicago tonight, and in the months ahead in Los Angeles and Kansas City, plus readings, performances, and moderated conversations in public libraries around the country, a revelatory new anthology brilliantly edited by Kevin Young, and a new website, africanamericanpoetry.org, with video, audio, and other resources. Lift Every Voice aims to highlight the richness and diversity of African American poetic imagination and its central place in American poetry. Lift Every Voice is directed by Library of America in partnership with the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture and with libraries, arts organizations, and bookstores in all 50 states. It is supported with grants from 3 funders to whom we're deeply grateful: the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, and Emerson Collective. This year, we've experienced the pandemic, a fateful election, and the largest racial justice protests in American history. In momentous times, great poems speak to us with new profundity. Deep calls unto deep, as the psalmist says. A poetic tradition of vitality, resistance, resilience, humor, and creativity in the face of often crushing difficulty has much to offer our moment. We hope Lift Every Voice can be a source of discovery, renewal, and joy. Thank you, and thank you to Chicago Public Library for their partnership this evening.
Hi, I'm CAREY Cranston, President of the American Writers Museum. Everyone at the American Writers Museum is proud to join in this celebration of 250 years of African American poetry from the Library of America. The voices of this country's Black poets and writers are instrumental to our understanding of this country. From songs of joy written in the depths of bondage, to voices of change raised in street protests today, the words you'll hear tonight inspire everyone to keep building a society worthy of their struggle. Thank you.
Now I invite you to sit back and enjoy Lift Every Voice. We hope you'll take the time to listen to these important poems and perhaps make a visit to your local library to check out their work. We also encourage you to leave your comments and reflections in the chat. Now here is our show, narrated by producer Sylvia Ewing.
Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you to all of our partners. Now, let's get the program started with the man of the hour, Kevin Young, reading work by Robert Hayden.
Sundays, too, my father got up early and put his clothes on in the blue-black cold. Then, with cracked hands that ached from labor and the weekday weather, made banked fires blaze. No one ever thanked him. I'd wake and hear the cold splintering, breaking. When the rooms were warm, he'd call, and slowly I would rise and dress, fearing the chronic angers of that house, speaking indifferently to him who had driven out the cold and polished my good shoes as well. What did I know? What did I know about love's austere and lonely offices?
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks for this anthology, which shows the power of pure imagination. In fact, let's celebrate this creativity in song with an artist you'll want to remember, Chicago's own Christine Wack.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with the spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want a view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. No place I know can compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be, truly want to be. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination, pure imagination. Come with me and you'll be in a world of paradise. Come with me and you'll be in a come with me and you'll be in a. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. No place I know can compare with your imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be free. If you want to view paradise, simply look around, simply look around. If you want to view paradise, let's get to it, let's get to it. Come with me and you'll be in a world of paradise. Come with me and you'll be in a world of come with me, come with me and you'll be in a come with me and you'll be in a paradise.
What a beautiful version of a classic song. Now, here is a powerful poem delivered by an Oscar-winning actor.
Original, ragged, round, rich, robust. He had the Hawkman's eyes. We gasped. We saw the maleness raking out and making guttural the air and pushing us to walls. And in a soft, and fundamental hour, a sorcery devout and vertical, beguiled the world. He opened us, who was a key, who was a man. I selected this poem because I think specifically Malcolm X is somebody that is just always just in the ethos, sort of always on your mind. But I think as of late, it just made me think about the time we're in, and someone who left this earth in 1965. And here we are, years later, still struggling and toiling with many of the same things that he saw to be problematic. So I feel like Malcolm X as a figure and as a person needs to be like revisited. So this was a way for me to get to revisit Brother Malcolm.
That was a powerful performance and a very intimate perspective on why Ali chose to read that poem from Kevin Young's anthology. Now, this award-winning young poet joins us from her college dorm with readings from two great women. Here's Aanika Pfister, Illinois Humanities 2020-2019 Youth Poetry Award winner.
Hi, I'm Aanika Pfister, and I'll be reading Won't You Celebrate With Me by Lucille Clifton. Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and woman, what did I see to be except myself? I made it up. Here on this bridge between starshine and clay, my one hand holding tight to my other hand, come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. The last quatrain of the Ballad of Emmett Till by Gwendolyn Brooks. After the murder, after the burial, Emmett's mother is a pretty-faced thing, the tint of pulled taffy. She sits in a red room, drinking black coffee. She kisses her killed boy, and she is sorry. Chaos in windy grays through a red prairie.
The impact of our Miss Brooks touches young people today, and we are so lucky to hear from her living legacy, her daughter, Nora Brooks Blakely. Let's listen.
Hi, my name is Nora Brooks Blakely, and I am proud to be able to claim Gwendolyn Brooks as my mother. I'll be sharing We Real Cool, arguably my mother's best-known work. But first, I'd like to give you a little backstory on the poem. In my mother's first autobiography, Report from Part 1, she talked about these young pool players. She said, the boys have no accented sense of themselves, yet they are aware of a semi-defined personal importance. She thought the we should be said softly, and that there should be a break after the we that represented almost a gasp of impending existential or actual death. Obviously, this is not a bubbly, bright poem. But when my mother talked about the poem to audiences, she also shared the experiences behind the phrase Jazz June. You see, when she wrote the poem, she wanted Jazz June to reflect a kind of conflict between the syncopation and improvisations of jazz and the light and fluffy image we mostly have of the month of June. But people started banning the poem all over the country. It turned out that many folks felt that she had meant some kind of sexual reference. My mother's response to that was, "That was not my intention, but I have no objection if it helps anybody." Audiences would roar with laughter. We real cool. The pool players, 7 at the Golden Shovel. We real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing sin, we thin gin, we jazz June, we die soon.
Here now is Roy Kinsey reading 2 poems from the anthology, which are more relevant than ever.
I want to not have to write another word about who the cops keep killing, by Khadijah Queen. So at first, I wanted to make another video and I thought I could do it on the weekend or after work, but motherhood and overtime, and then I got to image hunting and name searching, and each name led to another name and another name, and the people, and I wept again, and then I got angry again, and I got my fancy microphone to read June Jordan's poem about my rights, and played with filters and GarageBand, and thought about going for a walk in the almost dark and having my teenager film me in a flowered dress and sun hat, walking barefoot by the creek and grazing summer sunflowers with my fingertips like in a wistful movie intro or tampon commercial. But then I get up and I hurt everywhere. My body aches. I feel heavy. And as the sun goes down, I realize I don't have the time to make the kind of video I want to make because I have to get up at 5:30 a.m. to start work, and I want to not feel this pain everywhere, and I want to not be so tired, and I can't move, but fibromyalgia exists, and even though it reminds me of grief, what does any of this whining have to do with Michael Brown when my beautiful brown boy is laughing in the room down the hall, eating caramel gelato and not cleaning his room, and I want to not think about my dead brother every time the police kill another of us, and then get to pose in front of flags and lie to the cameras like the truth don't keep in blood, and keep their guns, and keep their public salaries, and keep killing the people we love. And when I think that I cry again because I want to not cry, because I actually hate crying, because none of my tears can offer resurrection. None of my poems can offer resurrection. None of my image searches can offer resurrection, and I want us to stay alive. I must become a menace to my enemies, by June Jordan. Dedicated to the poet Agostinho Neto, President of the People's Republic of Angola, 1976. 1. I will no longer lightly walk behind a one of you who fear me. Be afraid. I plan to give you reasons for your jumpy fits and facial tics. I will not walk politely on the pavements anymore, and this is dedicated in particular to those who hear my footsteps or the insubstantial rattling of my grocery cart, then turn around, see me, and hurry on away from this impressive terror I must be. I plan to blossom bloody on an afternoon, surrounded by my comrades singing terrible revenge and merciless accelerating rhythms. But I have watched a blind man studying his face. I have set the table in the evening and sat down to eat the news regularly. I have gone to sleep. There is no one to forgive me. The dead do not give a damn. I live like a lover who drops her dime into the phone just as the subway shakes into the station, wasting her message, canceling the question of her call, fulminating or forgetful but late, and always after the fact that could save or condemn me. I must become the action of my fate. 2. How many of my brothers and sisters will they kill before I teach myself retaliation? Shall we pick a number? South Africa, for instance. Do we agree that more than 10,000 in less than a year, but that less than 5,000 slaughtered in more than 6 months will? What is the matter with me? I must become a menace to my enemies. 3. And if I, If I ever let you slide, who should be extirpated from my universe, who should be cauterized from Earth completely, Law and Order jerk-offs of the first terrorist degree, then let my body fail my soul in its bedeviled lecheries. And if I ever let love go, because the hatred and the whisperings become a phantom dictate, be in lieu of impulse and realities, the blossoming flamingos of my wild mimosa trees, then let love freeze me out. I must become a menace to my enemies.
Who knew that CPL had so much talent in its ranks? Here's another poetry lover, storyteller, and performer.
Hi, I'm Emily Hooper Lansana, and I'll be reading Nikki Rosa by Nikki Giovanni. Childhood remembrances are always a drag if you're Black. You always remember things like living in Woodlawn with no inside toilet. And if you become famous or something, they never talk about how happy you were to have your mother all to yourself and how good the water felt when you got your bath from one of those big tubs that folk in Chicago barbecue in. And somehow, when you talk about home, it never gets across how much you understood their feelings, as the whole family attended meetings about Hollydale. And even though you remember, your biographers never understand your father's pain as he sells his stock and another dream goes. And though you're poor, it isn't poverty that concerns you. And though they fought a lot, it isn't your father's drinking that makes any difference, but only that everybody is together. And you and your sister have happy birthdays and very good Christmases. And I really hope no white person ever has cause to write about me, because they never understand Black love is Black wealth. And they'll probably talk about my hard childhood and never understand that all the while I was quite happy.
Thanks, Emily. Coming up later, we'll hear from Ewing, DANEZ Smith, Avery R. Young, and PHYLICIA RASHAD. But first, here are two powerful poems from hometown blues favorite Billy Branch.
Billy Branch, reciting haiku by Richard Wright. Oh, Mr. Scarecrow, stop waving your arms about like a foreigner. One magnolia landed upon another in the dew-wet grass. In the falling snow, a laughing boy holds out his palms until they are white. A September rain tumbling down in drops so big they wobble as they fall. Lonelier than dew on shriveled magnolias burnt black by the sun. A sleepless spring night, yearning for what I never had and for what never was. The Christmas season, a whore is painting her lips larger than they are. Droning a drowsy syncopated tune, rocking back and forth to a mellow croon. I heard a Negro play down on Lenox Avenue the other night by the pale dull pallor of an old gaslight. He did a lazy sway to the tune of those weary blues. With his ebony hands on each ivory key, he made that poor piano moan with melody. Oh, blues, swaying to and fro on his rickety stool, he played that sad ragged tune like a musical fool. Sweet blues coming from a black man's soul. Oh, blues! In a deep song voice with a melancholy tone, I heard that Negro sing that old piano moan. Ain't got nobody in all this world, ain't got nobody but myself. I was going to quit my frowning and put my troubles on the shelf. Thump, 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 when his foot on the floor, he played a few chords and then he sang some more. I got the weary blues and I can't be satisfied. Got the weary blues and I can't be satisfied. I ain't happy no more and I wish that I died. And far into the night he crooned that tune. The stars went out and so did the moon. The singer stopped playing and went to bed while the weary blues echoed through his head. He slept like a rock or a man that's dead.
And I'll be reading The Grave of the Slave by Sarah Louisa Fortune. The cold storms of winter shall chill him no more. His woes and his sorrows, his pains are all o'er. The sod of the valley now covers his form. He is safe in his last home and fears not the storm. The poor slave is laid all unheeded and lone, where the rich and the poor find a permanent home. No master can raise him with voice of command. He knows not, he hears not his cruel demand. Not a tear, not a sigh to embalm his cold tomb. No friend to lament him, no child to bemoan. Not a stone marks the place where he peacefully lies. The earth for his pillow, his curtain the skies. Poor slave, shall we sorrow that death was thy friend, the last and the kindest that heaven could send? The grave to the weary is welcomed and blessed, and death to the captive is freedom and rest.
We Wear the Mask by Paul Laurence Dunbar. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile, and mouths with myriad subtleties. Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask. We smile. But, O great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh, the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask.
We have had some of our greatest voices with us for this program. Thanks, Pemon. Now here's another favorite, the one and only Avery R. Young.
Calling black people, calling all black people, man, woman, child, wherever you are, calling you, urgent, come in, black people, come in, calling black people, calling all black people, man, woman, child, wherever you are, calling you, urgent, come in, black people, come in, wherever you are, urgent, calling you, calling all black people, calling all black people, come in, black people, come on in. You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for bid during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Dixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell's, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog mogs confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Stephen McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nubs. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still lifes of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving just for the proper occasion. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction won't be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of hairy armed women liberations or Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Keys, nor a song by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or The Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a white tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about the dove in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight germs that may cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised. 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 The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Avery is on fire. Here's a beautiful reading of another Amiri Baraka poem with reflection by poet Alison C. Rollins.
My name is Alison C. Rollins, and I will be reading my poem, Why Is We Americans? We is gator teeth, hanging from the rearview mirror, as sickle cells suckle at Big Mama's teats. We is dragonfly choppers hovering above Walden Pond. We is spinal cords, shedding like the skin of a cottonmouth. We is Psalm 23, and the pastor's chattering chicklets. We is a good problem to have. We is throats constricting, and the grape juice of Jesus. We is roach and mingus in birdland. We is body electric, eyes watering with moonshine, glossy lips sticky with lard. We is half brothers in headlock, arm wrestling in the dirt. We is Vaseline rubbed into knocked knees and cracked elbows. We is ham hocks making love to kidney beans. We is Orpheus, lyre in hand, asking, do we have a problem? We is the backstory of myth. We is sitting horse and crazy bull. We is brown paper bags, gurgled belches. We is hooded ghost and holy shadows roaming Mississippi goddamned. We is downbeats and syncopation's cousin. We is mouths washed out with the blood of the lamb. We is witch hazel coated backs sucking on peppermint wrappers. We is the spiked antenna of a triangle-faced praying mantis. We is barefoot, tongue-tied hogs with slit throats and twitching bellies. We is the crying pussies that stand down when told to man up. We is Radio Raheem and Zoot Suit Malcolm. We is spit slick low cuts and fades. We is scrappy black masked coons and turkey-necked bullfrogs. We is the pits of arms at stake, the clouds frothing at the mouth. We is swimmers naked, private parts Whitman allegedly fondled beneath the water. We is late lurkers and castrated tree limbs on the Sunday before last. We is red-veined pupils and piss-stained knickers slack-jawed and slumped in the bathroom doorway. We is whiplash and backhanded ways of settling grief. We is clubbing woolly mammoths upside the head, jamming fingers in Darwin's white beard. We is comin' round yonder, pigeon-toed and bow-legged, laughing our heads off. We is lassoed cowboys swinging in the sweet summer breeze.
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce someone who grew up in the library, Ewing.
Hi, this is Ewing, and I'm going to be reading a poem I wrote called I Saw Emmett Till this week at the grocery store. I wrote this poem in 2017 on the anniversary of Emmett Till's murder, and it's inspired by a lot of things, one of which is a line from a poem by my friend Fatima Oscar in which she says, "I wish them only a mundane life." And I got to thinking about what a radical demand that is in the face of tremendous violence. The idea that somebody would have the right to just live out a regular, boring life. And I thought about the fact that Emmett Till is one of the most famous figures in American history and one of the most impactful figures in American history. But it's because he was murdered so unjustly at such a young age. And so this poem imagines an alternate reality in which Emmett Till gets to just grow old and be boring and normal. And I run into him at the grocery store. The poem is also very much part of the Afrofuturist strand of my work. A lot of my work is around reimagining time and space and kind of fuzzifying the boundaries between time and space as we usually understand them. So those are some of the themes of the poem, and I hope you enjoy it. I saw Emmett Till this week at the grocery store. Looking over the plums, one by one, lifting each to his eyes and turning it slowly, a little earth, checking the smooth skin for pockmarks and rot or signs of unkind days or people, then sliding them gently into the plastic, whistling softly, reaching with a slim woolen arm into the cart. He first balanced them over the wire before realizing the danger of bruising, and lifting them back out, cradling them in the crook of his elbow until something harder could take that bottom space. I knew him from his hat, one of those fine pork pie numbers they used to sell on Roosevelt Road. It had lost its feather, but he had carefully folded a dollar bill and slid it between the ribbon and the felt, and it stood at attention. He wore his money. Upright and strong, he was already to the checkout by the time I caught up with him. I called out his name, and he spun like a dancer, candy bar in hand, looked at me quizzically for a moment before remembering my face. He smiled. "Well, hello, young lady. Hello, so chilly today. I should have worn my warm coat like you. Yes, so cool for August in Chicago. How are things going for you?" "Oh," he sighed and put the candy on the belt. "It goes. It goes."
Hello, Chicago. This is DANEZ Smith checking in from Minneapolis. I'm here to read from this momentous occasion my poem, my itty bitty poem from this great big history. This is Dinosaurs in the Hood. Let's make a movie called Dinosaurs in the Hood. Jurassic Park meets Friday meets The Pursuit of Happiness. There should be a scene where a little black boy is playing with a toy dinosaur on the bus, then looks out the window and sees the T-Rex because there has to be a T-Rex. Don't let Tarantino direct this. In his version, the boy plays with a gun. The metaphor being black boys toy with their own lives, the foreshadow to his end, the spitting image of his father, nah. This kid has a plastic brontosaurus or triceratops, and this is his proof of magic or God or Santa. I want a scene where a cop car gets pooped on by a pterodactyl. A scene where the corner store turns into a battleground. Don't let the Wayans brothers in this movie. I don't want no racist shit about Asian people or overused Latino stereotypes. This movie is about a neighborhood of royal folks, children of slaves and immigrants and addicts and exiles saving their town from real ass dinosaurs. I don't want some cheesy yet progressive Hmong sexy hot dude hero with a funny yet strong commanding black girl buddy cop film. This is not a vehicle for Will Smith and Sofia Vergara. I want grandmas on the front porch taking out raptors with the guns they hid in the walls and under mattresses. I want those little spitty, screamy dinosaurs that go, I want Cecily Tyson to make a speech, possibly two. I want Viola Davis to save the city in the last scene with a black fist afro pick through the last dinosaur's long, cold blood neck. But this can't be a black movie. This can't be a black movie. This movie can't be dismissed because of its cast or its audience. This movie can't be metaphor for black people and extinction. This movie can't be about race. This movie can't be about black pain or cause black pain. This movie can't be about a long history of having a long history with hurt. This movie can't be about race. No one can say nigga in this movie who can't say it to my face in public. No chicken jokes in this movie, no bullet holes in the heroes, and no one kills the black boy, and no one kills the black boy, and no one kills the black boy for once. No one kills the black boy besides. The only reason I want to make this is for the first scene anyway. Little boy on the bus with his toy dinosaur, his eyes wide and endless, his dreams possible and pulsing and right there.
Thanks for the Midwest love and the beautiful imagery, DANEZ. And now, the last performance of our program. Here is PHYLICIA RASHAD with Lift Every Voice.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed? We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come, treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, lest our hearts drunk with the wine of the world we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land.
You have been watching Lift Every Voice Chicago. Thank you for joining us. Watch again and tell your friends. Be safe, be well.